Hey everybody, my name is Warwick and welcome to Warwick Reviews. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be checking out a role-playing game called the Electric State role-playing game. I want to say a big shout out to Free League for sending me a book to check out. Really appreciate that. And what we do, we'll go through basically a bit of unboxing sort of thing, go through the book, what's the context involved, and my thoughts and feelings of it. But before we do that, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure you give us a subscribe, check out more of my reviews. I've got many out there, not just TTRPGs, but also I've done one for Daft Punk. I've done one on video games, all sorts. I'm sure you'll find something of your liking. Outside of that, I also stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick. And also you'll find me on various socials wherever you may be. But like I said, we're going to be checking out this role-playing game called Electric State. This role-playing game is based on the book Electric State by the acclaimed writer and artist Simon Statlenhag. This tabletop RPG uses Free League's Year Zero engine. And like I said, we'll go through the context and what's all involved. So here is the Electric State role-playing game from Free League, and this is the book here. And what I will say straight away is the quality is really, really nice. So there's a nice sort of matte feel and look to it, nice art, nice graphics on there, and there's a good weight to it. Really feel the quality there. So you got that there, and that's that. And what we're going to do is just go through a book, talk about a little bit about it, nothing too spoilery, just the basis of what the book contains. So first of all, you open it up and you've got the insert. So you've got Pacifica, which is the alternative world that you're in. Got a bit of map of sort of the area there. There are more maps as well, but this is sort of the basis there. So that's where you start in. And you've got sort of the credits of everyone who's worked on it. So you also got Simon Statlenhag, who's like the main artist and creator of Electric State. And you've got various other names that have worked on this book in various ways and stuff. And then you get to the contents and you've actually got 8 chapters. You've got Welcome to Electric State, State of Pacifica, Your Traveler, Combat, Neuronics, The Journey, Threats, Into the Dust, and The Lone Traveler. So we start with chapter 1. Chapter 1 is Welcome to Electric State. So what we're doing isn't civilized. I know that. But I know it must have happened to you too. Like me, you must have woken up one day and suddenly realized, inevitable, we no longer live in civilized times. It's a bit of a blurb for look at chapter 1. And what this is, it explains what the book and what the world is. So, you were torn apart by the Second Civil War, all but a few Americans find escape in the blissful neuronic network known as Electric State. Outside this virtual paradise, the wrecked hucks of battle drones litter the countryside, heaped together in a loom of trash tech from a consumer society in decline. I won't carry on reading that bit, but basically what this is, it gives you the basis of the book. And actually how the book and the role-playing game works. There's actually a bit of a blurb here, sort of saying, you step out from the car into pouring rain and rush towards the only visible building, a small diner halfway up the hill, surrounded by low bushes. Through the front windows, you can see a dozen people sitting at tables, with a waitress serving coffee. And you got different players, you've got Traveller 1, Traveller 2, and basically they're role-playing in the game. So for example, Fernando goes, I pulled the door open and step in, taking off my jacket, which is already soaking wet. And it just gives you sort of how it works. A game master or GM and 2 or more players all need to run the Electric State. You and your friend need to decide who's the GM before you start. If this is your book, it's probably you. The rest of the players, preferably 2 to 5 people, each create a traveller. So based on the story, so it explains how to play the game, got safety tools. So it does deal with sort of dark world with dark situations. So explaining about that and making sure you take self-care. And then you've got the glossary of the world. So you've got like what happened, Civil War, what neuronics means, strange events, the history in the world, some hope. And he explains the book itself. It actually explains about the chapters and what they each do and stuff. What is a role-playing game, which is always nice in case you never played. And then it explains about the journey. So the journey is the game. As Electric State is, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. So it's very much about that. So explains, from a GM's point of view, stops, encounters, scenes, so things you can do in the games and how they could work. And then sort of ending sessions, so how to even end them as well. How to roll dice. Principle of the game, so the main goal of the game as well, in case you need to know that, sort of how time is measured, traveling, how Neuronics works, how the world works, how dice works, and that's basically that of the first chapter. So it explains a lot of it. I will say, you probably have noticed already and continue to notice with here, is the art. So all the art is made by the creator, Simon Statlenhag, and they not only created the story, Electric State, but also all the art. And what's great about this is the art being used in the book has not previously been used before. So it's actually first time seeing art. So, and it's all wonderfully illustrated, incredible art, really sort of brings you into the game. And it's just a really nice touch to see throughout that as well. As you can see, like literally every page has sort of art. So chapter 2, State of Pacifica. So when did it start and all that sort of thing. So it sort of explains about the world that you're playing in. So where we are, sort of the world summarized. So if you don't want to read it all, you've got a world summarized, how we got here, all the different points that you will need to play the game, all the bits happening, and obviously there's more art. Like that's absolutely gorgeous art. Look at that. How Neuronics works, how the drones work, so like robots and stuff, all that there. Their art really helps visualize how these things look and feel and stuff, which I think is great. And then you've got Pacifica as the world, so it's basically a alternative version of California. And so that's what actually was at the front of the book, just there. So on this page here, and you've got a key, so you know what bits are which. Obviously a borderline. And it's about the country and the county and stuff, and a bit more about that. Los Angeles, what it looks like. San Francisco, north and east. Corporations, so things that work in the world, and different nations and unions. And then that's basically establishing the world. Chapter 3 is the traveler. Your traveler. So this is where you basically build your character. There are various mechanics and characters you can play. And so you go through here, again with the art, it explains like how you are. So you basically choose a archetype, you roll for your attributes, calculate your starting health, roll or choose your starting talent, etc, etc. So there's quite a lot there to go through. It actually explains what archetype are, the attributes, rolling and pushing, so how the game works. So when to roll, modifiers, pushing, gear, sort of attacking and sort of using your abilities that you have. Health, always helpful. Health and hope. So this is based on an award-winning 3 Leagues Year Zero engine. So if you've played games like Alien RPG and stuff like that, you'll be very familiar with this mechanic, but you've got the health and sort of hope sort of to keep you going, basically, because you are in a world that's quite desolate and probably lacking hope. So it's always good to have a bit or try to roll for that as well. And then you got your talents. So you can pick various talents. So for example, you could be an athlete. An athlete will give you ability of 2+ dice rolls for jumping, climbing, running, and similar actions. Or for example, you could be a pilot, so you get +2 dice to agility rolls for piloting any kind of aircraft. So if you could make a traveler who's very good at flying planes, your talent would be pilot, for example. Or it could be 9 lives is when making death rolls. You can actually have extra rolls. You can actually just cheat death all the time, or try to anyway. Personal stuff. So this is your background. So this isn't necessarily anything that needs to be from the book. It can be just stuff like, why are you there? How did you get there? Are you looking for someone? Are you just trying to survive? Is there a reason why you're where you are? And you can have backstories much as little as possible. They do about sort of dreams and flaws, so they do sort of want you to sort of make it a bit personal, sort of bring in a bit of personality to it. Your gear, so explanatory, you've got like a glossary of all the gears and stuff you could have. Your vehicles, tension. So you've got tension, you've got another mechanic there, so obviously you can't be quite tense, so that comes into play. Developing your traveler, so you do improvement rolls, and obviously sort of stats improve as you go. And then you actually got the travelers. So you got a few here, all fully illustrated, so you can get an idea of how they look. So artists, so I make art until someone dies. See? I'm the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist. So it gives you a basic idea of sort of key attributes, sort of what you would have. So your talents are sort of either charmer, drummer, queen, or magician. Dreams, so for example, you rolled a 1, you find someone that's important to me as my art. That could be your dream. Your flaw could be you're bitter about not being more successful. So that's artist, criminal, devotee, doctor, drone pilot, very cool, investigator, outsider, runaway kid, scientist, veteran. They're the main archetypes, but again, you don't have to go, right, I want to be an investigator. This is like a basis. You can chop and change it. Obviously, that's with the GM's rules and stuff. You know, they might be like, let's play it exactly how it is, but there are always ways you can sort of play it around. So I want to be an investigator, but actually a criminal, for example, or something. Or, you know, you runaway kid, but what's behind that? Are you something else and stuff? So you can change it as long as it works within the game. But yeah, you got all that there, sort of explains it. And then you got chapter 4, which is combat and neuronics. So again, it goes into more detail about sort of how the game works, roles and initiative, your actions, moves, zones and ranges, so movement. And then you've got sort of different types of attacks, so different types of weapons and what they can do, and also sort of the price, the max range, min range, damage, any bonuses involved in that. You've got range, close combat, ambushes, damage, so how to work out damage, losing hope. So obviously, as I was saying about sort of this world, you can lose hope quite easily. So about when you lose hope, what it can affect you and stuff, and how to reduce it or sometimes make it worse. Recovery, mental trauma. So again, like it does deal with some dark moments. So it talks about mental trauma. And that's obviously if you had a breakdown but rallied, you may suffer serious mental trauma that may take a long time to recover from. Roll on the adjacent table each week. You can make one wits or empathy roll, your choice, to recover from a mental trauma. So you can roll, and then depending on what you roll, you can sort of like where you are and stuff. So you can go from none to literally personality split. Other hazards you got to worry about as well. You got cold, you got fire, explosions, falling, disease, hunger. I mean real life really. They got neurocasting again. It goes into neuronics of the world and stuff. I won't get it today, but it explains about how it works, and so again with all that really cool art and stuff, which is really nice. Drones, so actually, you saw one of the drones there, so you've got more drones here and how they work and which ones do what. Vehicles, again, like I said, this whole bit explains basically every part of the game that you may need gears and repairs. Then the journey, and this is where it starts about planning your journey. So this is very much for the GM side of things. So it gives you a point of preparing the journey, choose a starting point, choose a destination, choose your route, you start making your world. So you sort of starting, think about where you want to do, how you want to play it, how long you want to be, what's your personal goals, threats as well, so any shared threats, and then start the journey. So obviously it starts about sort of asking group questions, so as it helps you out playing the game, so very much it's user friendly. So here, ask the group questions, so this is very much again like the GM, but next, ask the group these joint questions on which they must come to agreement. So who's driving, where are the others sitting, establishing, getting them sort of think about where they are, what do they look like, who are they, why are they there and stuff. Tension level, so it might be really high tension, like you might be all in a car and you all ran in from an ambush or something, or you might just, one of you fell asleep in the back and just woke up or something, and someone stole the car. And sort of role play, get people to sort of role play and stuff. You even says next, put on some 90s music and start role playing. I like that, it's very cute. Ending the journey, so when there's a stop, so it is like a sort of road trip-esque sort of type game. So there are points where you can have, okay, this is what I'm going to end at, like a rest stop or a certain point in the game where you can sort of end it. And then you've got these certain areas where you can sort of go, okay, this is where you stopped. This is what the issues are, preparing stops as well. And you've got more sort of glossary of what you may need to play. Any sort of things happening during your journey. Little doggy as well. Countdown. So there's certain things that like, there's always time involved. So traveler's arrival at the stop triggers a series of events that can end in drama and even violence. As a GM, you can make this, okay, so if you stop at this certain area, something will trigger. And then it's like a countdown. If you don't get it sorted out, this will happen potentially. And you've got that there. Playing the stop. So you're actually playing the stop. So when you go to a stop, you're actually playing it. And the sort of NPCs, how they would react from that, information and threats. Obviously, there are a lot of threats. Types of threats, locations, what they are, because obviously there will be some that may not be in the areas that they should be or vice versa. So you got, okay, so we're going to stop here. There may be this type of enemy or threat there. So like gangs or crazy killers. Example, cultists, so like mental rather than physical. Technological threats, so obviously, the androids and stuff. So it goes through that, sort of all the bits and bobs there. So you got chapter 7, which is actually where this is where the story starts. So this is a story in the game. So you got Into the Dust. So this is actually a story. So this chapter includes a complete framework for a sample journey, including a destination, a main threat, 3 stops, and several minor encounters. It also includes suggested personal goals and threats for all 10 archetypes listed in chapter 3. You can play the journey out of the box, extend it by adding more stops to it, or take it apart and just use as inspiration for your own journeys. What's great about this is all in one. So if you want to just literally, you can get this book, you can start playing. You've got this journey here. So you've got destination and route. So you've got like a sample guide. You've got sample threats and goals for each archetype. So if you don't want to be like, oh, I really want to make a character and all this stuff, you go, okay, cool. Who do you want to be? Dr. Zanzal. Okay, cool. You can be Doctor. Your goals is this, and your notes to this, countdowns this. Done. Excellent. There we go. Sorted. You've got other bits there. And starting the game. So you got bits about here, about sort of like what's going on with the sort of characters and sort of encounters and your sort of stats. Starting the game, how are you going to start it? And then talks about encounters and stuff and what will be in a sample game. So like there's a sort of a barn as well. And then you got the story. So you've got stop 1, Angel and Machine. Obviously, I won't go through any further because I don't want to spoil it. But that's not all. Because chapter 8, you also have another one. So you've got Lone Traveller. This chapter presents rules and tools for playing the Electric State RPG alone, without the need for a GM, simulating the experience of being at the table with your friends. In that way, it's a bit like Neuroscape. You can also use these guidelines to play the game together with others, but without the need for a GM. So what is again great with this type of book is you don't need a GM to play. Obviously, it's great to have a GM, sort of frees out sort of players and stuff, but it does allow you, the mechanics does allow you to play this by yourself or without a GM. So you've actually got like another base story here, which again follows chapter 7 in a similar way how it works and go through it. And that's really, really cool. So that's that chapter. Before we finish, at the end, you've got some pre-made characters. So you've got some character sheets, blank character sheets just there. So it helps you make sort of your characters out and stuff. And you've also, if you want to, you've got pre-made characters. So if you can't think of anyone, you can go pre-made and it gives you an idea of how it works. Then index. But last but not least is you've got this really cool map, which is of Pacifica. And it's like the map inside the game in the book, but actually it's a A2 version of it, or basically A2. So you can actually use this map when you're playing properly to actually go, okay, we are like, you can use this like an actual map. So, okay, so we're Bakerfield. So we need to get to Terra Bella. Okay, so that's where we're going and stuff. So you can actually use it as like on a road trip in the car, which is pretty cool. So there you got that there. And that is the Electric State book. There we go. Anyway, back to me. So that is the Electric State. I had a really good time with this. I checked it out. A lot of context. Again, the book's wonderful. Really, really good quality to the book. Great. That's got like a map involved. And the fact is, it's got all the information that you need to play the game. And what's great is not only you can play it with other friends, but you can also play it single player as well. And literally, you can start straight off the bat with this book. Thank you to Free League for sending me a copy. Really appreciate it. And thank you for watching. Thank you for getting this far. Really appreciate it. Again, my name is Warwick. I also make reviews here. Many reviews. Check them out down below. Also, I stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick. And also find me on socials wherever you may be. But thank you so much for watching. Please take care. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.